Yana says, why do Americans call fuel gas even though it's liquid? This actually has a very simple yet interesting explanation. We don't call it gas because it's a gas. You might be thinking, huh? What? Now, what do people call it in many other countries? They call it petrol, right? Which stands for petroleum. Petroleum, which comes from oil. Now, don't say put oil in your car, because putting oil in your car is something else. When you put oil in your car, you put that in the engine. But that oil is just a lubricant to make sure that your engine doesn't overheat and seize up, right? So never say put oil in your car. You can say put petrol in your car, which stands for petroleum. Okay? So already we have an abbreviation. Petrol is short for petroleum. Petrol is short for petroleum. Now, the Americans, we Americans, my fellow Americans, we do the same thing. So when we say put some gas in your car, what we're really saying is put some gasoline in your car. Because that stuff, that liquid, what it's called in America is gasoline. Gasoline is the thing. It just happens that GAS is the beginning of that word. It doesn't have to be that way. Petroleum, petrol. That's why, because it's the beginning. Same sort of mechanism, same reason for shortening it, just taking the beginning. So when we say it, to make it easier, we say gas. Now, to someone who doesn't know anything about that, they might say, "What, you don't put gas in your car? It's a liquid." Ah. Yes, but since every American person knows that what we're really saying is gasoline, it's not a problem. Because we know that we don't put gas. You could fart into your gas tank, I guess. I don't know. Does that work? So we know that we're not talking about actual gas, so nobody gets confused, right? It sounds kind of weird to outsiders. They might think, well, what are you doing? Why are you saying that? But we know what we're talking about, and so it works, okay? And you can't say you shouldn't do that because there's another thing called gas, which is a state of matter, which is when atoms are at a certain distance because of heat or whatever, they become that form and rise into the air. You can say, yeah, that's true. I know that. But I also know that I don't put that kind of thing into my car, and so I know what I'm talking about. Every country and culture and even small group will have its own phrases and words that it uses to express certain ideas. Right? And not all of those make a lot of sense. And I would be very clear in saying not all of them have to make sense. In fact, maybe none of them have to make sense. Because what we're talking about here is language. And language is sort of a messy thing that changes all the time and is very weird. It doesn't need to make sense to you. It doesn't owe you being logical. It doesn't owe you anything. It just has to be useful within the landscape and culture that it is used in. So that's all I can say. Americans say gas because it's short for gasoline, and that gas is different than another gas, which is the state of matter. And when we say oil, what we're really talking about is the lubricant that we put in the engine. Maybe that's confusing. To me, it makes total sense because I was raised in America, and that's just how I learned it. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and also check out my full English courses in the links in the description.